What is up, my dudes, and that one creepy goth girl is just here for the dead things. This is Bikes, Beards, and Brews. Let's kick that intro. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Before we kick this one off, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. New videos are coming weekly. You ring that bell, you know when they drop. Let's get the other stuff out of the way. Want to save 10% on our Cardo communicator or save some money on some Beyond Riders gear or Kemimoto gear? Then you should check my referral links down below. Want to support me and all my do-gooderness like these cool guys here? Bam! Then you should become part of the Brew Crew. Enjoy the coffee page down below. Why do I ask you for money? Well, next to those 10,000 Amazon affiliate links that also go to a good cause is a link to a video explaining what I do with your money. Get it, got it, cool. Let's move on. All right, guys, so today we are going to be talking about 4 bikes that Indian has killed in 2024. And you may not notice that they have killed these. Hell, Indian may not notice that they have killed these. But for sure, they have murdered these bikes. So let's get into this. Let's talk about it. So just before we dive into this and talk about the bikes that Indian has killed in 2024, I just want to do a little bit of a rollback here and stress that Indian really has not had a major rollout since 2020 when they introduced the Challenger. The Pursuit, the Rogue, the Super Chief, those are all just variations of bikes that they already had existent. The Challenger is the first one that they've had recently where they actually did a full complete new bike. So it has been a while since Indian has done something new or like really push that envelope to come out and be competitive or to introduce something new to the market for their buyers and consumers, or even other consumers that might be considering Indian but haven't found the bike that they are looking for just yet. Now, that's not to say that Indian has done nothing over the last 4 years. As I said, they have put out the Pursuit, the Rogue, and the Super Chief. Even though they are variants on other bikes, they're still variants, and that is still appealing to people. They also bumped up their air-cooled engine from a 111 to a 116, so they are doing incremental changes. Even now in 2024, they've released a few bikes with like these sound packages that are supposed to be better speakers, better amps, all that stuff. So you can purchase those options as well. But all of that has been fairly minute and not really that exciting for anyone, which is sad. The liquid-cooled 108 has seen no changes since it first debuted in 2020 on the Challenger, aside from maybe a few factory changes where they've tried to chase some of those gremlins and bugs and make it a little bit more of a reliable engine. Aside from that, it has remained a 108 and the same horsepower, same torque that it had since day one. Now in 2025, that changes. All that's out the window. The 108 is becoming the 112, and it is still going to be liquid cooled, and they're bumping up the horsepower, they're bumping up the torque, they are making this a bigger, badder engine. And this is where we get into how Indian has killed a few bikes in 2024. So the biggest news is Indian intends to take this 112 liquid cooled engine and put it into their Chieftain and Roadmaster, which are normally getting the V-twin air-cooled engines. So this is completely different, and I'm actually quite excited about this. This is something I've been saying that Harley has needed to do for a while. Yes, you've got your air-cooled engines in your Street Glides and your Road Glides and your Road Kings and all that stuff, but how great would it be if they just had a whole separate line of liquid-cooled engines for the younger generation that wants that extra horsepower, that may not be too hung up on engine sound and stuff like that, or may not be caring too much about the torque numbers, because yes, liquid-cooled tends to have slightly lower torque numbers, but that would just put it out there and like rein in a few more buyers. And Indian is now doing this. Now, I'm not sure just yet, because Indian hasn't really made this official, if they are actually taking the liquid cooled engine and just replacing all of the touring bikes with it, if they're just doing the Roadmaster and the Chieftain with liquid cooled come 2025, or if this is a line that they're going to be offering separate from their air cooled line. Honestly, I really do hope it is separate from the air-cooled line, so you're giving people options. However, by doing this, Indian has effectively killed the 2024 Chief, Roadmaster, Challenger, and Pursuit, because let's be honest, people now know that there is a bigger engine coming out in 2025. People now know that bikes that they could only get in air-cooled in 2024 and previous, they're now going to be able to get in liquid-cooled come 2025. Now, with that liquid-cooled engine, there's a fair chance that they're probably going to do some like redesigns, maybe some incremental updates on the bikes as well. So you may be getting a slightly newer look on the Chieftains and on the Roadmaster. So that makes it very appealing to wait if you're in the market for a bike, but you are not necessarily needing a bike at this moment. So now this goes the exact opposite way as well. If you're completely happy with the air-cooled engine, if you are completely happy with the way the Chieftain looks right now, or you are completely happy with the way the Roadmaster looks right now, and you have no desire to like go into the liquid-cooled realm, and maybe you don't even want to like dip your toe in, you don't even want to wait to see if it's going to be two split lines, you could just go get a 2023 holdover from last year that is still sitting on the floor, brand new, that hasn't sold, which has pretty much the exact same paint scheme as 2024, except you're going to be getting it on deeper discounts because your dealerships are going to be trying to clear out those 2023s. They're going to be trying to get those out the door so they can have those 2024s on the floor and actually sell those. Now, I know that there's people that will comment on this video like, oh, well, I go into my Indian dealership and there's no bikes there ever. Look, I've gone up and down the East Coast. I've gone to all kinds of Indian dealerships, and there's never been one that I've walked into where I'm like, whoa, this thing's empty. There's not a single bike to be seen. So you guys are a little silly. If you've got that dealership, take a picture and send it to me, because I would love to see that empty Indian dealership that isn't out of business that you apparently are all going to, because I have yet to see that as the case. That is just a ridiculous argument. Not to mention, Indian will ship throughout the country, especially if you're in the US. So for like, $1,000 or a little bit less, they will ship you a bike. And I'm sure you could still get some pretty killer deals. If you're buying from across the country, you tell them that you want a few grand off and to ship it to your doorstep, you can probably still make that happen. So for those of you who are interested in the 2024s, but you want to save money, you just snagged that 2023. For those of you who are interested in the liquid-cooled lineup, then you're going to hold off and you're looking towards 2025. 2024 is just sitting there dying. It is absolutely pointless that these bikes are here right now. And I think this is a big problem with many manufacturers who let this stuff leak ahead of time, because you're essentially telling people not to buy the product that you've got right now. And Indian, I really hope that you made less units for 2024 just to save yourself from like deep discounting these things come 2025. Now, I did say 4 bikes, and I've only been talking about 2. I did mention the other 2 real quick, but that is the Pursuit and the Challenger. Right now, they both have 108 liquid-cooled engines. There's a very fair chance that these are going to get the 112s at the same time. And the Challenger has not been updated since 2020 when it rolled off the line. So it's a really good time for that bike to start getting some sort of incremental updates. Maybe an update to the fairing, maybe an update to some of the paint designs, maybe some other updates, who knows. So if you are interested in a Challenger, if you're interested in a Pursuit, which is just a Challenger with a few extra parts on it, you're going to wait till 2025. You're going to look to get that bigger engine. You're going to look to maybe grab yourself a different updated fairing. You're going to look for all that. Or if you're like, I am completely happy with the way the Challenger looks right now, or the Pursuit looks right now, you're just going to go grab a 2023. They are the exact same bike, except you're going to save a few $1,000s because it's a leftover model on the floor that dealers are going to be marking down to try and get out the door so they can make room for their 2024s. Again, Indian has killed 4 bikes right now by introducing these new engines and talking about them and letting them leak out into the market and letting people talk about them. So this is kind of a bad move for Indian, unless, of course, like I said, they scaled back heavily on their 2024 production, which I don't think they actually did. Now, I do want to stress there hasn't been any leaks saying that the 112 is going into the Pursuit or is going into the Challenger, but let's be honest, if you're putting a 112 into these bikes that used to be air-cooled and then you're saying we're skipping over our 2 liquid-cooled bikes, you're going to piss off a lot of your fan base and you're going to piss off a lot of buyers, and they are just going to be walking out the door, because why would they buy the 108 when you've got the 112 over here? They want that option on this side. Although my past dealings with Indian, that might be possible. I've tried to buy a Dark Horse in a different color that they were making for a different model of the Challenger, and I was like, look, I will pay some upcharge, I will pay this, I'll pay that, just move this color over onto the Dark Horse and make it a special buy, and I will buy that. And they're like, no, you can call your dealership and they can recommend some paint shops local to you. Why do I want to repaint it? You've got the color I want, guy. Let's do this. So, I mean, Indian might very well do that too. Like, no, we're not going to put the 112 in the Challenger. You get the 108. Deal with it. I don't know. Indian does some weird things. They do some really weird things. I know a lot of you are like, Harley does weird things. So does Indian. Seriously, they do. Overall, though, this does mean that these 4 bikes are just dead men walking throughout 2024. There is no reason to buy them. I have checked Indian dealerships around my area. I've branched out a little bit past my area. There are still Chieftains. There are still Roadmasters. There are still Challengers. There are still Pursuits on the sales floor from 2023, brand new, 0 miles. And this is where, like, Indian makes the mistake of not actually changing their paint scheme year after year, because there's really no reason to start chasing a specific year bike that comes out. Their paints do change, but very, very minimally. It is not like Harley where they're like, oh, check out neon, hot pink, super fire, star, rusted, brown, whiskey, neat. It's only gonna be out for this year. You better buy it now. Like, they don't do that. They do it on their elites, but their elites, they only make like 120 of each of those. So that's pretty much off the board unless you're hunting for an elite right out of the gate. So that is another reason why Indian has kind of shot themselves in the foot, because the black is always going to be black. The white is pretty much the same. That copper color is pretty much the same. Sometimes there's a blue in there. They don't really get creative with their paint. Sometimes there's a two-tone in there, but it's fairly rare, and I'm willing to bet you could still get those off the floor as well, sitting there waiting for someone to buy them at this moment in time. Indian is just completely let these 4 bikes down for 2024, and that's kind of sad. Anyway, what do you guys think? Throw your comments down below. Let's talk about this. Let's have a conversation. Do you think that these 4 bikes are just dead in 2024? If you were to buy one, would you just grab a 2023, or are you looking forward to 2025 to see what Indian rolls out? Because let's be honest, at this point in time, Harley has really taken some shots across the bow, and Indian needs to answer, and they're not going to be able to just wait a few years to have some sort of response to what Harley is doing. So I'll be really curious to see what you guys are thinking about this, what your thinking is on like purchasing an Indian, or you know, whatever. If you're just not interested in Indians whatsoever, that's fine too. But sound off down below, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, share this video with friends, share it with family, share it with that one dude you know is like, going to the Indian dealership right now to buy a brand new 2024 at MSRP. This is a great idea. Save this guy, save him. He loves this stuff, trust me. And I'll see you all on the flip side.